What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and this is a video I've wanted to put together for a while, as many of you have reached out to the channel asking me how do I like to use the True Patriot gear set. Now, to be honest, I have a bunch of different ways I like to run with this build. However, today I wanted to show you one of my favorites. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. And remember, we are currently having a giveaway for an Xbox Series X. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced on July 4th of this year. We are going to jump right into the build, my friends. However, I want to remind new and returning players that always remember a build like this is just a template. This is one of so many different ways you can run with the build. The most important thing is to take your time and truly cater a build towards your game style, and at the end of the video, I'll go over a few tips on how to do so. So starting off with the specialization, I'm using Gunner for a bunch of different reasons. I like getting that 10% extra armor on kill. It has the riot foam grenades. For those of you that are used to running with Hunter's Fury, you have the option of using the Banshee Pulse with this specialization, and remember, regardless of which one you choose, always make sure to have your proper weapons equipped in your weapon skill tree. That way you're always getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which weapon you're using. Now, my primary weapon for this build is the Chameleon AR. Now, some of you may not have it as yet. It is in the general loot pool. It was never a guaranteed drop during a previous season. That's the only way to get it. So the only way to pick this thing up is to find ARs as a targeted loot and farm in that area. The reason this weapon is so effective is because of its talent Adaptive Instincts. You can see hitting 30 headshots grants 20% crit hit chance and 50% crit hit damage for 45 seconds. Hitting 75 body shots grants 90% weapon damage for 45 seconds. And then hitting leg shots grants 150% reload speed for 45 seconds as well. My secondary weapon for the build is the Dark Winter SMG, still one of my favorite weapons in the game. It has the talent Perfect Killer, where killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 50% crit hit damage for 10 seconds. If you don't have this, any SMG with the talent Killer could work. You could also use Close and Personal. Again, try a few different things out. Moving on to the gear itself, you can see we're running 4 True Patriot, 1 Fenris, and the Memento backpack. Again, there are a lot of different ways to run this. I will show you a few options as we move on, but starting with the mask, it's the first piece of True Patriot we have equipped, and we have them all equipped to get all of the gear set bonuses. As you can see here, the 2-piece bonus gives you 30% ammo capacity, the 3-piece bonus gives you 30% magazine size, and 4 pieces red, white, and blue. Every 2 seconds, enemies you shoot receive a stacking debuff of red, white, and blue. Red is going to amplify the enemy's damage taken by 8%. White, when shooting the enemy, it repairs the attacking agent's armor by 2% once every second. And then we make our way to blue, which decreases the enemy's damage dealt by 8% as well. Now, when you have all 3 of these active, you then turn on Full Flag, where enemies that die while under the effect of all 3 debuffs create a 5-meter explosion, dealing damage equal to their total health and armor. Explosion damage reduced on named enemy deaths. Moving on to the body armor, it's the 1 piece of Fenris we have equipped, so we get that 10% extra assault rifle damage. Now, I'm using the talent Obliterate, where critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, stacking up to 25 times. Making our way to the holster, the knee pads, and the gloves, they are the 3 remaining pieces of the True Patriot gear set. Now, on all of these pieces, I'm trying to stack crit hit chance and crit hit damage everywhere I can. And one thing I want to point out is there happen to be a few attributes on these pieces that I don't really need, but these are the best pieces I've been able to find so far. So remember, even though a build isn't perfect, it still can get the job done. Now, when it comes to the backpack for this build, I have a few different options that I typically run with. If I'm playing solo, like you saw at the beginning of the video, I'm usually running with a Memento because it is still the best bag and slot because you are getting all of those trophies. Now, the main reason I'm doing that is I'm the one doing all the killing, so I'm picking up trophies non-stop. However, when it comes to playing in a group, I typically switch my bag to something with the talent Adrenaline Rush. Here, I'm using the Matador, which has perfect Adrenaline Rush, but even with a regular Walker and Harris bag with the talent Adrenaline Rush on there, it's going to give you bonus armor when you're close to NPCs, which is definitely going to keep you alive. As far as my skills go, I'm using the Crusader Shield and the Assault Drone, which happen to be my 2 favorite, but remember, because you're using the Gunner specialization, you can equip the Banshee Pulse, which disorients enemies when you use it. And for those of you that are used to running with Hunter's Fury, I strongly recommend trying out that skill with this build when you're first starting off. Now, one thing I want to do really quick, and this is for those of you who have reached out to the channel saying saying, how can you tell when the certain talents are kicking in for the Chameleon? You just got this weapon and you're trying to figure everything out. Now you can see when I aim down sights, you can see that there are 3 hexagons right next to my weapon. And you can see when I'm hitting those body shots, that middle hexagon is filling up with orange, and once it's full, it turns white. And once it turns white, that's when you have that 45 seconds of that 90% weapon damage activated. Now you can see as we're going along, the white hexagon is starting to decrease, which means you can see the timer happening. Now I'm going to switch to headshots. It's the exact same thing. The headshots fill up really quick, and once you see this next round of ammo, you can see then the hexagon at the top turns white, and then I have those 2 buffs running at the same time, and you are just going back and forth, my friends. You are absolutely shredding enemies. Now at this point in the video, my friends, I do want to pass along a few tips to new and returning players which should hopefully help you out anytime you're trying out a new build. Now as I mentioned before, one of the most important things about having a build is having different variations. So right now I'm going to jump into Countdown, and because I'm doing that, I am going to switch from the Memento to, I talked about having the Matador equipped. That way I'm always getting that extra bonus armor when I'm close to an NPC, because as most of you know, when you do play Countdown, the kills that you have may be a little lower than they normally will. Well, of course they're going to be lower than when you're playing on your own, but the point is people are pretty aggressive when they play this, so that way you're always going to get that bonus armor regardless if you take out an NPC or not. Which brings me back to the point of having different variations of a build. Try this build when you're playing on your own. Try it when you are playing a group. See what you really notice when you're playing from one to the other, and make those certain tweaks, because in my opinion, that's how you can determine how you want to put your build together. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the family we have here at the channel. So as always, if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players on how you like to run with this, please let me know in the section down below, as the main goal is to help out as many people as we can. And for those of you that may not have the Chameleon as yet, you could use a different assault rifle. Obviously you'd need to use a different assault rifle, but I recommend using a Carbine 7 or a FAMAS with the talent Close and Personal or Opportunistic. Again, try out different things, but even if you don't have the Chameleon, you can still put out a ton of damage with this build. With all that being said, as always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your amazing support of this channel, and remind you, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know in the section down below and I will get back to you as quick as I can. On that note, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
System curtailed. System reactivated. High-risk target approaching. Evacuate the facility. 5 minutes to lockdown.
Containment field failure. EMP discharge required to stabilize reactor.
Agent, you should be able to access the lab.